afternoon. We welcome you to the webinar on Graduate Insolvency Program, Introducing Insolvency to the World of Education. Graduate Insolvency Program is an innovative route that opens opportunities for professionals in the field of insolvency, especially youngsters. In this webinar, we have CS Alka Kapoor, Chief Executive Officer, ICSI Institute of Insolvency Professionals. Mrs. Kapoor is Chief Executive Officer since its inception. She is managing the institute very dynamically as a regulator and in supporting the insolvency professionals. Mrs. Kapoor was in the field of corporate laws and governance for more than 30 years. And we have Mr. Ranjeet Pandey, CS Ranjeet Pandey, President ICSI. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, a law graduate from the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, and a graduate in science. CS Ranjeet Pandey is also an insolvency professional, registered with IBBI and has over 15 years of experience in the field of corporate laws and commercial laws. A company secretary since 2004, he is prominent advisor in the area of corporate restructuring, insolvency and bankruptcy, commercial contract and agreements, SEBI and capital market matters, audits, compliances and due diligence. We have Professor Scott. Professor Scott joined the Campbell Law Faculty as a professor of law with the beginning of the 2015-16 academic year. With more than 15 years of commercial law practice, he teaches bankruptcy, contract and sales and leases courses on Campbell Law. Prior to Campbell Law, Dr. Scott served on the faculty of Regent University School of Law beginning in August 1998. He was previously a visiting professor at Campbell Law as well as resident scholar at the American Bankruptcy Institute in Washington, D.C. Fulbright scholar at National Law University in Jodhpur, India, and visiting professor at Handong International Law School, South Korea. We have Dr. Neeti Shikha, Head Center for Insolvency and Bankruptcy, IICA. She has held academic positions at various law and business schools in India and Singapore. Previously, she was an associate professor and head international cell at Symbiosis Law School, Noida. She has been an assistant professor and director, Center for Corporate and Commercial Laws at National Law University, Jodhpur. Dr. Shikha has completed her doctorate in corporate governance from National Law University, Jodhpur, India. She holds LLM in international business laws from University College London, UK. We welcome you all.
Yeah. Welcome you all to this very exciting webinar on a very important topic of Graduate Insolvency Program. Friends, as you may be aware, Dr. Abdul Kalam had once said, for me, there are two types of people, the young and the experienced. Well, as you know, the IBC today is making a mark and has in fact shaken the entire corporate world in India. The experienced professionals, I have already taken a lead role. I mean the professionals with more than 10 years of experience, they are being appointed as insolvency professionals. But the space is now being opened for the young professionals with 0 to 10 years experience. Professionals like company secretaries, chartered accountants, cost accountants or even lawyers with 0 to 10 years experience can become insolvency professionals after undergoing this course on graduate insolvency, on which Dr. Shikha will, throw a light on it and explain you in detail the nuances. Today, around 2,000 of the corporates, the companies, have been admitted under the code for resolution of their debts. About 2.09 lakh crores has already been recovered through the resolution process under the code, and 50% of the money of the financial creditors and operational creditors has already been received by them. The cost of recovery also is quite low as compared to the earlier regime. It is now 0.5% of the total money realized as against 9% earlier. In fact, friends, the culture of the corporates, the culture has totally taken a U-turn. The feeling that once you have borrowed, you have to return. It is a debt, a loan on you which you have to repay. This is the culture which is now evolving. The IBC has also taken the India a notch up in the world rankings. It is today ranked at 77th position in the ease of doing business as against 100 earlier, and in the space of resolving insolvencies, the position has moved up to 108th from 137th earlier. The pillars of IBC include the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, the adjudicating authorities, which is the NCLT and the NCLAT, the insolvency professional agencies, the information utility, and of course the insolvency professionals. The most important fulcrum is the insolvency professional in this entire code. In fact, this profession is evolving as an institution now, and in the days to come, it will play a much bigger role in the whole edifice or insolvency and bankruptcy code. Friends, the insolvency professional of whom we are talking today exercises the powers of board of directors. He in fact becomes the managing director to run the company once it goes into the insolvency resolution process. He or she coordinates with the adjudicating authorities, with the corporate debtors, with the creditors of the company, with the shareholders of the company, and with the resolution applicants. He also coordinates with the employees of the company to get the work done, with the labor, and so on and so forth. So given that the responsibility of an insolvency professional is huge, and the fact that now we want the young professionals to enter into this space, it requires a greater level of excellence and integrity. Accordingly, to tap the young professionals who have enthusiasm, vision, honesty, energy, the drive, as well as integrity, it was thought of to catch them young, to educate them, train them, and make them capable of being appointed as insolvency professionals, so that they can contribute in this national a national program of resolving the debt culture in the country. With these few words, I would now request Mr. Ranjeet Pandey, the President ICSI and a director on our board, to apprise you more about the opportunities which are available in this field as the young professionals. Mr. Pandey.
Good afternoon, friends. I am CS Ranjeet Pandey, President ICSI. Friends, as Alka Kapoor ma'am has narrated, that it is a responsible job to become insolvency professional, and once you qualify as an insolvency professional and registered with IBBI, a lot of responsibilities comes in your shoulders and a lot of opportunities are also there. As far as opportunities are concerned, there are immense opportunities. It is not like that you will be only appointed as insolvency professional, then only you will be able to work as a professional. The moment you are got registered with insolvency as an insolvency professional with IBBI, friends, plethora of opportunities will be open to you, and you come into the shoes of advisor. You can become advisor to the so many people in the ecosystem, maybe insolvency professional also himself, maybe committee of creditors, maybe creditors who are going to file the application before the tribunal, or financial, operational, all kind of creditors will come to you for advisory. You being an insolvency professional, you will be the first person whom they will be approaching to get the advisory done, because you have the intense and immense knowledge of the insolvency law. And the moment you have the insolvency law knowledge, then definitely you will be able to advise them, guide them properly, that whether they can avail this particular forum or opportunity to say resolve the insolvency of their company or recover their debts or whatever remedy available under the law, whether it is allowed to them or whether it is not allowed to them. So a lot of advisory scope is there in the insolvency law. That is first point. Second is you can present the cases also. Being insolvency professional, it is not a bar that you cannot appear. If you are a practicing professional, you can appear also before NCLT and NCLT. Being a company secretary also you can appear. But if you have the added advantage of being insolvency professional, then definitely it will give you the edge over other professional, because you will have the intense knowledge of NCLT process, NCLT rules, Companies Act, and thereafter on the top of it is insolvency law. So all three laws taken together, you will be the apt professional to guide and appear before for your client before the NCLT and NCLT. Third thing is you can become IRP or resolution professional or interim resolution professional. Here, as Alka Kapoor ji has suggested, that you can come into the shoes of the managing director of the company. You are managing the day-to-day affair of the company. You are trying to resolve the insolvency of the company and take it to the growth path. So this is big responsibility you are taking. 180 days process extended up to 90 days. So that again comes with a greater responsibility, and this gives you great sense of responsibility. Also the opportunity for you to perform and thereafter take it to the logical conclusion. You as a professional will also feel satisfied after resolving the insolvency of any company. Fourth is of course liquidator. If say resolution is not possible and company goes into the liquidation, then in liquidation also you can become a liquidator. So insolvency professional degree or say certificate allows you to become liquidator also. So this is the fourth opportunity you are getting after becoming the insolvency professional. You can become bankruptcy trustee also. Individual insolvency is on the way. Once individual insolvency comes, then it will open up another opportunity, and a lot of individuals will also be coming for the filing for the bankruptcy and all things. So that will open up another scope for the insolvency professional in the area. If you are going to qualify as a valuer also, then this is another added advantage. You being insolvency professional, you will be able to tap that particular area also. So what I am trying to say in the nutshell, that so many opportunities available to the young professional also. You can assist the insolvency professional who are in senior. You can take up the responsibility at your own shoulder after doing 1 or 2 assignment with the help of the senior, or assisting the seniors in 1 or 2 assignment, so that you should have feel of the whole insolvency practices and procedure, and thereafter you can take up your own practice as an insolvency professional or liquidator or bankruptcy trustee and so on and so forth. So friends, I would say that graduate insolvency program initiated by IBBI and with the IICA is a great opportunity for you. If you will be able to spare time and join this course, then at very initial stage of your career you will be able to become, you don't have to wait for 10 years to become the insolvency professional after passing the limited insolvency examination. Rather, you take graduate insolvency program and thereafter you will be able to become. So I appeal all the young company secretaries to take up the insolvency professional graduate insolvency program and become the insolvency professional at the initial stage of their career. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you for all these words of introduction. Just a few more about myself. I am here in India as a Fulbright Nehru Scholar to study the implementation of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of India. And that was very interesting to me because the law here was enacted in 2016, where of course in the United States it's been around for many, many, many decades. In fact, our original bankruptcy statute goes back to 1898, which time it was liquidation and discharge for individuals only. Shortly thereafter, corporate liquidations were included, but it wasn't until 1938 that we had a corporate resolution program, what we now know as Chapter 11, that was part of the United States bankruptcy code. Then in 1978, everything that had come before was modified, amended, and reenacted as a full bankruptcy code. So we have been doing this in the U.S. for many years, and it's not to suggest that our system should be adopted by anyone else. It's just that I was attracted to come to India to study the implementation of bankruptcy law at the beginning, where I had been practicing and teaching as an academic in a system that was very mature in terms of its practice. The bankruptcy law in the United States, particularly reorganization law, particularly our Chapter 11, is vital to a functioning market economy. In other words, if we have a market economy that provides opportunity for market success, we also must have a legal regime that provides equal opportunity for market failure. And indeed, that's what Chapter 11 and the corporate insolvency resolution process in India reflect. That is, for all the successes that we have and we can celebrate, there will be some failures, and it is vital that we move the assets of a failed business into better, deploy them to more useful and productive means as quickly as possible and simultaneously as fairly as possible with respect to the creditors and other stakeholders of the corporate debtor that is no longer going to be able to continue to function. So we have a system in the U.S. where this has been done a long time. We, of course, have developed practices and professional designations and certifications that enable us to identify those who are well qualified to participate in this process, and that is exactly what the program by the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs is designed to do, provide the certification to provide young, or not so young even, professionals with an opportunity to understand the relationship of this new area of the law to all other factors, legal, accounting, regulatory, that are crucial to successfully leading to a resolution of a financially troubled company. In the United States, because we've been doing this a long time, we have well-recognized professional designations for insolvency professionals. The leading insolvency professionals in the United States come both or from a variety of professional backgrounds, that is attorneys, the field of accountancy, valuators as well, and liquidators as well, and even refined areas of business advisors, so that there are people with their, for example, a master's in business administration who are focused in the area of giving business advice to struggling and reorganizing companies. So we have each one of the professions involved in the world of bankruptcy. So I can speak, of course, most clearly and directly to the work of attorneys in the United States, and the practice of law in the United States is regulated at the state level with a state-administered bar examination. Thus, once you have passed that bar examination after finishing your legal studies, you may, of course, then practice in the field of bankruptcy law. But how are you going to do that? You may have taken one paper in law school on bankruptcy law, but that hardly qualifies you to represent clients, whether they are individual debtors, whether they are corporate debtors, or whether they are financial creditors, secured or unsecured or the like. You need far more than a law degree to make you a competent lawyer in the field of insolvency law. So a number of organizations in the United States have provided means by which that further education and training can be provided. One of those that provides, I think, the most of legal education for graduate lawyers is the American Bankruptcy Institute, an organization with whom I served as a resident scholar for a term back in 2013. My specific work, my calling, if you will, and connection with the American Bankruptcy Institute was to design a curriculum for new lawyers who wish to have a full-orbed background in the study and knowledge of bankruptcy law in the United States. So for 4 months, I designed that curriculum, and now it forms the backbone, the structure of regularly offered continuing legal education programs. So that is very extensive, it's very good, but it is nowhere near as extensive as the program that the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs is going to offer. In other words, the program that I designed was to provide legal training for 2 to 3 days only. and not to provide full-on experience and training in actual documentation, drafting of plans, and the like. So it's very good. I'm very pleased with the curriculum that I designed, but it is not as extensive as it could be. We also have another organization in the United States, the American College of Bankruptcy, that administers certification examinations. They do some training, of course, with respect to the examination they offer, but they also require that anyone taking one of the examinations have had several years of practical experience. Well, that of course takes several years to acquire before the studies for the examination can take place, before the examination or examinations can be taken, and thus one receive the certification as a specialist in either individual bankruptcy law or corporate bankruptcy law. So both of those organizations and others, I don't want to suggest there are not other organizations that provide legal education, legal training, and other organizations that provide equivalent education and training for accountants and other professionals. I'm not suggesting there aren't many organizations that do it, but none does a completely comprehensive job from beginning to end for those who wish to become an insolvency professional. So it is very good that this opportunity has arisen here, and it is really necessary, I believe. In other words, in the U.S., bankruptcy practice is not something that one does on irregular occasions. The sophistication of the law, of the jurisprudence, the knowledge of practice is so demanding that it requires perhaps not a full-time commitment to bankruptcy law, but a very substantial portion of a commitment of one's professional life. And I realize that's not the course where everyone can start, but I believe there is a symbiotic relationship between training and certification and the ability then to dedicate oneself to practicing in the field of insolvency and bankruptcy law. And to the extent that one does that, one can become not simply an advisor, not simply a professional, but also part of a larger community, which then lead to the further development of the law and jurisprudence here in India. So I look forward to the program here that we're going to learn more about today, and with you as well, and perhaps some questions that we can answer as time goes on.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you.
That was a great explanation of what is happening outside.
Yeah, very
and
good.
the
Thank you.
comparison in India. Neeti Shikha ma'am.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to extend my great, gratitude to ICSI for giving us this opportunity to address young company secretaries like you. It's an honor to be addressing young blood who are the future leaders of the country today. I'm really happy to hear what Professor Scott had to say. It only validates what we are doing, and it ensures that we're on the right track. Thank you, Professor Scott. I will structure my presentation in two parts. First part, I would like to speak about the GIP, the Graduate Insolvency Program, and in the second part, I would like to address some questions along with Ms. Alka Kapoor ji, Professor Scott, and myself about the GIP. Graduate Insolvency Program is one of the dream programs for young graduates who wish to make a career in insolvency. As Ms. Alka Kapoor already pointed, that Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code has really started a journey for India towards the economic growth. I always tell to people I meet that India did liberalize its economy in 1990s, but the real market-centric approach is adopted with introduction of IBC. And I say so because IBC is the most progressive law as we see today. It has made India jump 23 ranks in ease of doing business ranking only by coming of this act. To ensure that India continues its journey towards economic growth, it's important that we build a system around this code which is robust. We build an ecosystem that could sustain itself and address the problems in business timely. And IBC works towards that. Now, having a good law is not enough. We need to have those structures and pillars in place on which this IBC could rest. And graduate insolvency program, it aims to create those structures and pillars. It aims to create top cadre of insolvency professionals who will tomorrow become the torch bearers of this economic growth, who will become the torch bearers of India's economic growth story. As you know, that today to become an IP, one has to have 10 years experience to register themselves as an insolvency professional. Needless to say, that experience has its own benefits. Experience brings a lot of ideas on the table. But looking at the size of the India's stressed assets, look at the size of the debt market in India, it will be wrong to deny this opportunity to young blood, to young people who are full of ideas, full of potential. The aim of GIP is to start training people and help them start young so that they could become they could steer this IBC ecosystem. Now, if you look at the course, I would like to first make it, a point that this program, the Graduate Insolvency Program, is first of its kind in India, and my interaction with Professor Scott and many scholars across the globe has made me believe that it is the only program in the globe that has given 2 years dedicated domain-specific learning to graduates. IICA is lucky to have been chosen to start this flagship program in India. Now, before I delve deep into the course structure, if you look at what is the role of insolvency professionals in the IBC process, as Ms. Alka Kapoor already pointed out, and as Mr. Ranjeet Pandey ji had discussed, the role of insolvency professional is an overwhelming responsibility. It is a role of multiple directors combined into one. As you're aware, when a company starts its liquidation process, the board of directors gets dissolved, the board gets dissolved, and IP is appointed. The average board size in India is around 8 to 10. Now imagine the power, imagine the responsibility of 10 directors combined into one IP who's steering the wheel of a company which is already on a shaking ground. Now, this responsibility is overwhelming. It needs a specialized, specific knowledge about working of the company, about human resource management, etc. Insolvency professionals have various statutory and legal duties under IBC. It is expected of them that they follow the highest standard of ethics. In day-to-day business, they manage the operations of the company, they manage the finances of the company, they help the company in the liquidation process, and so on and so forth. In short, I would say that they are the pillars on which the whole implementation of IBC stands. Now, looking at the overwhelming task that IP has to perform, a question that naturally comes to mind is, do we have enough people to hold the baton? And the answer is no. Right now, under the statutory regime, those who have 10 years of experience can register themselves in IP after clearing the insolvency examination. Though India has approximately 2,500 IPs registered with IBBI, it will be wrong to assume that all these 2,500 IPs are well trained in the domain of insolvency. As new as the law is, so is the role that IP is doing in India. The need of the hour is to train people in this specific domain. Now, the purpose of GIP is to create a young and alternate young cadre of professionals who would dedicate themselves to this field of law. We need dedicated professionals who could look at this as a full-time dedicated profession. Not to say that those who have experience do not bring new ideas, they're not able to drive the insolvency process. Of course they do. But the challenge is that these 10 years experiences is also bringing it with itself the baggages of presumptions, the baggages of, experiences of their own domain specific areas, that sometimes they may become, they may not be able to see a cross-sectional, cross-sectional issues. They may have to unlearn many things to learn new things. The idea of GIP is to make people start thinking young, to make young graduates as enablers to drive the process. Now, benefits of GIP is that you could shorten your journey of 10 years into 2 years. Once you complete 2 years, you could take examination and register yourself as an IP. So this in sort gives you a jump start in your career. The program is a 2-year long program, 1-year residential program with IICA, and the second year, for 12 months, the professionals will spend training with various stakeholders, which I'll talk about in a bit. The second year program, when they train with, when you go for the training with these stakeholders, they start earning. In other words, in this program, they can earn as they learn. Most importantly, this program is being taught by industry leaders, leaders from India and abroad. They get a chance to rub their shoulders with these industry leaders and thought leaders. And through these experiences, they can hone themselves and help themselves develop into world-class IPs. Now, I've already spoken about the vision of graduate insolvency program. Looking at whether there is a market for these graduates, the answer is yes. If you do your own inquiry and ask these banks, ask various firms, the need for insolvency professionals, all these stakeholders would say that yes, they need insolvency professionals. Some of us may think that there are already many. Why do we need more? The answer is that we need more skilled insolvency professionals. Right now, the IPs have taken up the examination and they're working, and of course they're doing a fantastic job. But somewhere the skill training, helping them build up the skill which is globally, globally contextualized, also addresses the homegrown issues, is missing. And this is what the program does to the young graduates. This program is an industry initiative where various firms and law firms, IPs have come together to curate this program. We are proud to say that we have got immense support from our partners such as Ernst & Young, Deloitte, KPMG, Grant Thornton, and so on and so forth. All of them have helped in curating this program, in developing the curriculum. Start right from the macro planning to the micro delivery has been done by these leaders. The training is designed in a way to give a 360-degree rounded approach to young graduates who would be taking this course. About the eligibility, this program is a niche program which aims to create a niche sort of, niche professionals who are the top cadre professionals. To ensure that we do this, we have a eligibility criteria that they must hold a professional training, or they at least should have a master's in the course of the related discipline. So, CA, CS, law graduates, MBA, engineering graduates, or masters in finance, commerce, or economics are those who could qualify to take the examination. The selection process is 3-step. One has to take GIPSET, the Graduate Insolvency Professional Common Entrance Test. The shortlisted candidates would be called for a group discussion and personal interview, where once they clear these 3 processes, they can join the program. We have a limited seat of only 48 across India, across these disciplines that we offer, and 48 young graduates can join this program, which is, as I told you, for 2 years. To enable students, to help them do this course, we have loan facility, easy loan facility from State Bank of India. Students who qualify will be eligible for loan without any collateral, and 100% of their fee will be taken care of by loan. Over and above, we have scholarships available for those who have proven their merits in this selection process. We strongly believe in diversity, regional, gender diversity. So those who are coming from diverse areas are welcome to apply, and we will ensure that the class speaks of diversity in its selection process. There are also provisions for fee waiver. Fee waiver is based on need cum merit. I always tell this to young graduates wherever I go, that if you believe in yourself that you have it to be a graduate at GIP course, please apply. Money will never come as a stophold for those who deserve to be in the program. Now, if you look at the program structure, it is a trimester system that we follow. Just a second, I think. So, the graduates who come to join us will be spending 3 trimesters, first 3 trimesters with us from July till March end, after which they go for internship. Internship is also very well designed. They do 4 internships with IP professionals, banks and financial institutions, law firms, and IBBI. Now, purpose of having these 4 set of internship experience is to ensure that these graduates have a well-rounded experience of all the stakeholders, key stakeholders in the insolvency ecosystem. After they do this internship, they come back and they try to implement these learnings and synthesize it and do a sort of finishing with the IICA. So, the last trimester they come back to us. Now, we have 720 hours, class hours per trimester, and the whole program is very well designed to ensure that every day that they spend at the IICA, they have immense learning. Many of the students have asked me that is it, if they could continue working as CAs or CS while do their course. And my answer to them is probably no, because the 12 months residential program is going to be extremely intense, and it has to be like that. Otherwise, we will not be able to do justice to those who are coming for this program. I always tell to these students that, we have to prepare you to be the future CEOs of a company. IPs have colossal power but colossal responsibility. There has to be so much of learning all squeezed into 2 years. And we will not be able to do justice unless you do justice to your time when you join the course. Anyways, coming back to the fee. Fee for the 2 years program is 12.25 lakhs, which includes your residential fee. I must note here that IICA has world-class facilities. It's a lush 14-acre lush green campus with world-class facility. We have flipped classrooms, smart classrooms. You could talk to foreign professors and foreign experts in real time through these smart classrooms. The residences are studio apartments, fully furnished with world-class facilities. We have sports facilities on campus and everything that a student would require to make their learning enjoyable. So, list of faculties. It brings me pride to share with you that we have some eminent faculties associated with our program. The list includes Justice A.K. Sikri, Mr. Parag Tripathi, Dr. Rahul Singh, Mr. Suman Batra, Mr. Vijay Iyer, Mr. Dinkar, India's known economist, Dr. Subhashish Gangopadhyay, former president of ICSI, Ms. Mamta Binani, Mr. Abhizay Divanji, so on and so forth. The list of these eminent faculties is big. Our endeavor is to make our institute and this course talent heavy. So we are trying to export and bring in best experts, thought leaders to deliver this course to you and to ensure that you are taught from only best people. Now, if you have any questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. I do have some questions that has been given to me, which I would like to address. Whether the 2 years program is a full-time course or a distant education, is there any restriction for CS in practice to enroll for this, like in registered valuer, where a CS in whole-time employment is not allowed to enroll? So before, I'll just answer this question partly, and the second part of the question I would request Ms. Alka ma'am to answer to you. This is a full-time course, 2 years course, where 1 year you spend on campus, effectively 12 months on campus, 12 months in internship. This course is not being offered as in a distant mode. You have to give your full 24 months for this program. You know, it is a very intense course without which, you know, you will not be able to achieve the very objective of the course. Ma'am, would you like to share something about?
See, it's a full-time course, but once you become an insolvency professional, you cannot be in employment. An insolvency professional cannot be in employment, but if you are a professional like company secretary, you can continue to practice as company secretary. So to that extent you can continue, but not as a full-time employed company secretary, but you can practice.
Okay.
But when you are in the course, then as Shikha has said, you have to put your full-time energies, efforts into the course.
Yeah.
That time you can't even practice.
Yes, yes.
Because the time will not allow you to.
Yeah. So when you spend your 12 months in internship, there you will get a lot of practical experience, hands-on experiences. And I always say this to young graduates that, you know, the course is curated in a way that you work in a non-stimulated environment. What I mean is that, you know, like mediating, negotiations. Now, a lot of people do negotiation exercises, but it's in a very stimulated, controlled environment. But when you join this course, you'll be attending the COC meetings. You'll be attending these, you know, these important negotiations, and you'll be part of this non-stimulated environment. When you work, you almost work like an associate to an IP. So to that effect, you're literally working as an associate, making good use of the degree that you hold. So, and which is also a paid internship. So when you work for 12 months, it is not a, a sort of, just a formality, a formal superficial association with these firms. You'll really have to deep dive into these roles and work like an associate to these people. Second question is, can CS having 3 years experience do a course? Of course, they can do.
We said 0 to 3, 0 to 10 years.
Anybody could do it. The only embargo is that you need to have you need to be under 28 years. We are looking at creating young cadre of IPs, so the age limit for the program is 28 years. How close are we to introducing insolvency regime for individuals? Now, before I answer this, I would like to draw some comments from Professor Scott on, what is your experience, Professor Scott, in India? You've worked quite a bit and done some COC trainings as well.
Yes, I've done, yeah, I came here knowing that the individual insolvency, the individual bankruptcy provisions had not yet been notified. When I came, I had hoped perhaps they would be notified while I was here, but then with the arrival of the election season, that did not happen. And I have no particular insight on when it will actually be notified. I can say that the individual bankruptcy regime in the United States, typically known as Chapter 7, or what we often call the wage earner plan, our Chapter 13, and again, you have the comparable provisions here, are very significant areas of practice, both for, again, attorneys primarily, but not limited to attorneys by any means. So the individual insolvency regime here, I do not know if the company secretaries as such will be involved, but yet IPs will be crucial. So if your background as company secretary, your qualification as an IP will qualify you to do the work when it comes, and I think it will not be too far in the future.
Ma'am, would you like to speak something about individual?
The question is, are we going to see it soon or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes.
what is your experience?
Yeah, I think it should not, it's not too far. Individual insolvency it's also around the corner.
Yeah.
So that will again open a plethora of opportunities for the professionals.
So so I think we've answered that question. Is this a regular course? May I know mode of the classes? This is a regular course, whereas I reiterate, you have to spend 12 months on campus. It's a residential course, 12 months with the various firms and bodies doing your training and internship. What is mode of classes? Mode of classes is physical. You have to be in the class and study. Of course, we'll use a lot of technology where you could be studying in real time from foreign professors. The pedagogy of this course is very, very different. It's a sort of experiential learning. We believe that this program requires a lot of deep diving into various case studies, learning from the recent judgments, learning from the cases that has been resolved, even looking at the cases that has not been able to reach a resolution plan and taking learnings as to why not. So, along with this, we have designed workshops, we have designed seminars from various experts. There will be a week with the legend where a professional from INSOL, the international body, or some eminent global professor or the practitioner would come and speak. We also have a feature where authors of various leading insolvency books would come and spend a day with you. So this is a very exciting sort of pedagogy that we have adopted for this. Is there any training requirement? Of course, yes. The course is equally balanced with theoretical underpinnings that you learn at the residential program, along with 50% of the time that you spend in the training. Fee structure, 12.25 lakhs. And I always say that, you should not worry about this fee. It is as such a very, humble fee that has been, put in. Please do remember that you have full loan facility for the fee. Over and above, you could apply, if you have proven your merit, you could apply for scholarships. There are various scholarships present at the IICA. You know, those who cannot afford the course, you know, there are certain criteria you'll have to meet, and you will be getting, you know, financial assistance in form of fee waivers as well. So fee, and most importantly, I must note here, ma'am, that when they go to train in the second year, almost 40%, up to 40% fee can be recovered from what they earn as a stipend in the second year of their learning. So effectively, your fee would be, you know, a very minuscule amount.
How much is the period that they'll be training?
12 months.
No, 3 months they'll again spend with IICA.
Yeah, so effective.
9 months?
No, ma'am. Effectively 12. So this is a 4 semester.
Yeah.
So it's a 4 semester. So they spend first 3 trimesters with IICA,
Right.
and next 3 trimesters with. Sorry, it's a 6 semester.
Huh.
3 trimesters in 1 year.
Yeah.
So 3 trimester classroom learning,
1
3
year.
trimester, you know, training. Just that the last trimester is back with IICA.
So last one they're back.
Yeah,
Okay.
but from the trimester 3, they already go for the training. So effectively, if I can say so, 12 months training, 12 months classroom experience, spread over 2 years.
And
That is
this
how.
initial, it's residential as well, the initial 12 months?
Yes, yes, yes.
Which is, the fee of which is included in this
Yes,
fee?
yes, yes.
Yes.
And I must, you know, we say this with pride, that IICA has one of the world-class facilities. You know, we as an institution, we have been doing a lot of capacity building training programs for the government. We are subordinate office of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. We do, you know, ICLS Academy is housed at the IICA. NFCG, National Foundation for CSR, is housed at IICA. National Foundation, we also have various centers in schools, like Center for MSME. We are coming up with Center for Independent Directors. Why I'm saying so is just to give you, you know, a spur that we are intellectually, it's a very, very vibrant, you know, intellectually very vibrant, very happening place to be. You'll be in company of, you know, people who are intellectually very sound, curious to learn, you know, people who have already proven their merits, they are leaders in their own field, and you'll be literally sharing, you know, your campus with them. Residents, sorry ma'am.
One important question which is emerging is that will IICA help in the campus placement,
Of
or
course.
do we have to search for the same?
No. So, ma'am, we have a batch size of only 48.
Right.
And this number is a very thought after number. You know, we didn't want to take a big size of students where they are fighting to get a job, or a big size of students where we cannot deliver to our best capacity. So the size is kept small with the view that there's a personal interaction between teachers, between the trainers and the students, firstly. The internship that you do for the 12 months will be facilitated by IICA. So you will not have to, you know, apply on your own. You're not left on your own. From the day you join the program till the day you pass out, till the day you're placed, there'll be a personal mentorship that you will get from us. Yeah, and even in the placements, and you know, a lot of students ask me, ma'am, that will we get placed? You know, there's always a question, is it worth it?
Yeah.
And to that effect, I always say that, you know, this is such a growing field. You know, the market for stressed assets, the market for, you know, debt finance, the market for insolvency is huge. And as Mr. Pandey, you know, he pointed out that to become an IP is a natural course that you should take after doing the program. But in case you choose not to, you can still be a turnaround professional and work with any big fours. So just to share with you, the big fours, you know, EY, PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, they all are, you know, our partners, our network partners. So in case you don't want to practice IP as an IP, you could join and still be a stakeholder in this ecosystem.
There is a lot of opportunity. in
Lot
fact.
of opportunities.
Lot of opportunity, as Mr. Ranjeet Pandey has also pointed out. If you don't want to be an IP, then you can be a liquidator. You can be, an advisor to the. You can appear before the on behalf of the clients before the adjudicating authorities. You can be a trustee. There's
Yeah.
so many opportunities.
So many
open,
opportunities.
Yes, I can
and
speak.
there's one more question for you, Mr. Scott. It has
Yes,
come.
good,
Is
good.
that what would be the recognition for pursuing this course across worldwide?
Well, this course, to the best of my knowledge, is unique in its depth and practical application. In other words, there's nothing like it in the United States. The closest thing we'd have is an LLM program at one university in the United States, which would have perhaps an equivalent impact, influence on the academic side, but does not have the same training opportunities that would come part and parcel of this of the GIP program here. So this is unique worldwide. So I think that's the first thing to notice, and it's unique in a good way. So that this means then that when India also adopts the long cross-border insolvency, which is adopted in the U.S., that there will be occasions where insolvency professionals in India, RAs and related insolvency professionals, will have occasion to file an ancillary proceeding in the U.S. and other countries throughout the world to recover assets and deal with creditors in those other nations. So this would be, again, although not qualifying you to practice in the U.S. under the U.S. law as such, of course, but it would give you the depth of experience that would make you much more adept, if you will, at working with insolvency professionals in other nations. So I think it would have both a qualitative aspect that would be unmatched and an opportunity to use your skills, deploy your skills in scenarios where it would be very, very valuable to have had this program in an international situation. I did want to follow with one point made before, the idea of bankruptcy trustee. Again, that's part of the individual insolvency regime that has not yet been notified. But those individuals, bankruptcy trustees in the United States who handle the individual bankruptcy cases, are very well regarded. It's a very demanding position. It is, if not full-time on its own, a very substantial time involvement in it. And bankruptcy trustees in the United States need not be attorneys. In other words, most of my comments have been directed through my lens of a practicing attorney and a teacher of law students. But bankruptcy trustees in the United States, some of course are attorneys, many are accounting backgrounds, and many have simply solid business backgrounds that enable them to undertake the work of a bankruptcy trustee. This kind of course here will easily cause you to be qualified to serve and to serve competently as a bankruptcy trustee when the individual insolvency regime takes effect here in India.
Yeah, so there are global opportunities as well.
Yes.
Well, that's good. One last question. Students want to know what would be the kind of entrance exam from
Right.
Alka. Yeah.
Before that, I'd just like to share with you that the last date for registration of the course is 15th May. So in case you're interested, you please do apply. To apply, you have to go to iica.in/GIP, or you could just visit the homepage of IICA and you'll be guided to the website of GIP. Also, please do subscribe us on the social media channels like YouTube. We have our own channel there, and where experts speak. We have a Facebook page, we have Twitter handle. Please subscribe to us. I'll share the details in the end. Now, coming to the question that ma'am asked, what is the nature of examination? The GIPSIT examination will be an online examination that will be conducted at various centers. Total, we have various various cities where the centers will be located. The examination would be, be testing you on your financial aptitude, legal aptitude, on ethics, on your current affairs, and your English and communication. So it is a mix of various, skills that is being tested in the written examination which we assume is also requisite for an IP. If you visit our website, the detailed course curriculum for the examination is being given, along with the weightage of each section is being given already, and also there is a sample question paper that has been uploaded on the website. You could visit that and you can start preparing for examination. Most importantly, you could contact any one of us at the IICA to know more about how to prepare and how to start, how to start readying yourself for this course. Just a last point I'd like to share with you, that I'm very glad that Dr. Scott and Ms. Alka pointed out how we intend to create, through this GIP, a global professional. We are in talk with various, firms to give international exposure and element, exposure to our graduates who would be joining the course. So you will have international exposure, hopefully. We are in talks. Secondly, if you look at the curriculum that we have, ma'am, you will not find this sort of curriculum anywhere across the globe, as Dr. Scott rightly pointed.
Yes.
Even the closest that you have is an LLM in insolvency by few universities across the globe. But to be an IP, you need to have, many other skills like understanding organization behavior, leadership, ethics, understanding forensic audits. Now, all these domain-specific knowledges like insolvency, cross-border insolvency, forensic audit, to these soft skills like leadership, personal gravitas, emotional intelligence. A IP has to have, combination of all these skills within him. And the course is aiming to make you, imbibe these skills through various courses, the classroom teachings, the workshops, etc. that we'll be doing in this program. So I really hope that you apply for this course. Any questions, you could reach to me. I'm Dr. Neeti Shikha, the head of Center for Insolvency and Bankruptcy. My, my coordinates are easily available on the IICA website. Please feel free to reach me or give me a call if you'd like to know more about the course.
That is very enlightening. I'm sure your students have really gained from this, and I think Shikha has tried to truly motivate you and put you in the right perspective as to why you should join this course. It is relevant today, it is going to be relevant in the years to come.
Yes.
And there are a lot of opportunities in this, so which we have all elaborated. Now that the time is getting over, if you have any questions, you can write to Dr. Shikha. You can write to us as well. We will get the response from her and get back to you. And Dr. Scott, you're always there for anything that we need.
Oh, yes.
And whenever we go international, we're going to contact you.
Absolutely. I'd be very pleased to be part of this project.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hope you got all the information that you desired. We've all the questions that we've received, Dr. Shikha has replied to each one of them. About the course, about the fees, about whether you can function whole time, part time, everything we've tried to answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all.
And thank you for participating. Thank you, Lakshmi, for being there.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.